Welcome everyone to the October Council meeting. Could everyone please stand for the opening prayer and original custodian statement? Almighty God, grant to this council wisdom, understanding and sincerity of purpose for the good governance of this city. Amen. And council acknowledges the Peek-wurrong and Kurrawa-wurrong peoples of the Maar Nation, their land, waterways and skies within your Warrnambool municipality, and pay our respects to their elders past and present. Thank you all very much. Please be seated. We'll now move on to item 2, apologies. Do we have any apologies this evening? Councillor Arnott?
Yes, Mayor, we have apologies for Councillor Vicky Jelly.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Walsh. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 3, the confirmation of minutes. So can we have a mover that the minutes of the scheduled council meeting held on the 1st of September 2025 be confirmed? Councillor Edis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 4, which is the declaration of conflicts of interest. Do anyone have any conflicts they wish to declare for this evening's meeting? Any items on the agenda? All right, we'll now move on to item 5, the mayoral presentation. I'd like to start by, as a council, offering our condolences to Albie Clark, OAM. He was an important advocate for Indigenous health, with his passion stemming from his own diagnosis with diabetes. He went about meeting this health setback head-on by doing such a good job of it, and he ended up becoming a really notable long-distance runner, and we would have all seen him running around the municipality. And he was still taking on those long runs well into his 80s, so we'd just like to pass on our condolences to Albie and his family. It has been a very exciting month, though, for council, with the Red Hot Summer Tour coming back to Warrnambool for the first time since 2011. It's great to see we're going to have Paul Kelly, Missy Higgins, The Cruel Sea, Cat Empire, Casey Chambers and Jess Hitchcock all at the racecourse. If you haven't got your tickets, get your tickets. The citizenship ceremony this month was really, really big, welcoming nearly 90 new citizens to Australia and Warrnambool. That was a really special event, and thank you to everyone that took the time to turn up. And on Friday we had the Bendigo Spirit launch. It was really great to see the Bendigo Spirit there at the Flying Horse on Friday afternoon, and they had a great night on Saturday night playing against the Geelong Venom, even though I don't quite think they got the gong, but it was close, and it was really great to see them coming to Warrnambool, and we'd like to welcome them back. So that's the mayoral presentation. We'll now move on to item 6, the public question time. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got one question tonight from Bronwyn Bennett, and Bronwyn's here and was going to read her question out. Yeah.
So the current rate and valuation statement defines the net annual value of a detached dwelling, fine print as estimated annual income generated. How does the Warrnambool City Council, including all its departments and personnel, define income and income generated? BigGov website, land.bigGov.au, states that for rates net annual value for a residential primary production property is defined as 5% of the capital approved value. This last updated on the 14th of August 2025, and the valuation of land at 1960 version 1, version 1st of July 2025, defines the net annual value in the case of a house under exclusive occupation of the owner and used for residential purposes, or exclusive occupation of a tenant and used for residential purposes is 5% of the capital approved value of the land. No reference is made to estimated annual income generated from residential homes or rental properties. By what authority does the Warrnambool City Council, and all departments and personnel, define net annual value of a private residential dwelling by estimated annual income generated, and when the Warrnambool City Council rates net annual value be defined as 5% of capital approved value as per the valuation of land at 1960 version 2025? Would you please explain?
Yeah, thank you. So the answer is that councils are required by law to show the net annual value on our rate notices. Warrnambool City Council does not use, and it doesn't use the net annual value figure in determining any of the rates in Warrnambool City Council. I understand that only a very small number of councils in the state use the net annual value figure, but we're still required to display it. What we do use is the capital improved value is used for determining our rates. Capital improved value is an estimate of the value of the land and improvements determined by considering historic sales. Council has included an explanation of the net annual value on our rate notices because even though we don't use this figure, we were getting inquiries. But I think it's fair to say that based on the feedback from tonight, we will be doing a review of the wording of it so that it is very clear. And we probably just need to make it clear that we don't actually use that valuation, but we're required to collect it.
Thank you, Mr Mason. No other questions?
No.
Very good. We'll now move on to item 7, the reports, and item 7.1, the annual report 2024-2025. And because this is the Mayor's annual report, I'll be introducing it instead of Mr Mason. What a year it's been. Council's been working hard, delivering projects across the city. We've seen so many capital projects reach completion this year, especially some of the highlights were the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House, Briley Stage 1. We're continuing to work on Stage 2. Kindergarten upgrades across our municipality, the McGinnon's Beach access and the Wollaston Road, which is one of the largest road projects that's been taken on by across the city in the last decade. Asset renewal has really been a key focus, and you'll see that here in the annual report. And while Council is in a sound financial position, funding for our asset renewal program is a challenge, and especially as we need to continue to advocate for state and federal government support. Advocacy, Council's been working hard advocating across the year with the federal election earlier this year, and Council was also, the entire Council was down in Victoria Parliament earlier this year to make sure that Warrnambool is in front of mind when we're talking to all the decision makers who can actually provide us the funding we need to provide so many of the facilities and services that we provide across the municipality. Events and festivals have been amazing this year as well. Winter Solstice was knocked out of the park again. One Night Stand was a really big boost across the entire city as well. And, you know, Claw Money at the WAG was, you know, some of the big highlights. And, you know, we're looking forward to the Red Hot Summer Tour coming again too, since the first time in 2011. Services across the city, they've continued to run and grow as our population's grown, with so many in our city relying on our services every day. Some of the facilities that do some really special work I'd like to shout out to are the Library, Archie and West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House. They really show the difference Council makes in everyone's everyday lives across the city. And it's also been it has been a big year, and there's more to do, especially with the state election coming next year, but that's the annual report. Do we have any questions on that before we get a mover? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
I'll move that Council adopt the Warrnambool City Council 2024-2025 annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Arnott.
Well, thank you, Mayor. You've actually already quoted a lot of what I was going to say, but so I won't bother repeating that. I do agree that we have had a very successful year, and I will touch on that Warrnambool won the silver at the Victorian Top Tourism Award. We were narrowly beaten by Bendigo, but we were ahead of other regional cities like Ballarat, Mildura, Echuca, Shepparton and Werribee. So that's a big boon to us here for our tourism industry.
Sorry, Councillor Arnott, we got gold this year.
Did we get gold? Oh, I wrote silver. My goodness me, well, that's even better then, isn't it?
Sorry, Councillor Arnott.
So that was a real brain fade. My apologies to everyone. Dear, oh dear. Now I feel very embarrassed. So another thing I'll talk about, we've been able to give out, to share over $285,000 with our community development fund. That has been shared between community clubs and associations, and those funds have been used to support sport and recreation, arts and culture, as well as the environment and sustainability. The Mayor has said how we have been busy advocating to state and federal ministers, and as the Mayor has said, we really do need to keep our priorities front and centre of the government and push our priorities. And I'd particularly like to see our key worker and affordable housing projects come to fruition. As we've said, you know, there are going to be challenges for the council in years to come. The state of Victoria is in financial difficulties, but as I said, we do still need to continue to advocate. Hopefully in the years ahead, and with careful planning and continuing to find efficiencies, Warrnambool City will maintain its position as a key regional city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Edis.
No, Mayor. No, nothing to add.
Any other councillor wish to speak? No further speakers. Do you wish to add anything to close?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.2, which is the long-term financial plan, 2026 to 2035. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The long-term financial plan is an important strategic document. It shows that council is in a strong financial position at the moment, but like many other councils and organisations, we face a challenging future financially. Particularly for us, that's a result of rate capping and particularly reduced state and federal funding. I think the important and positive thing about this plan is that we have time to now plan for and work methodically through these issues and you know, making sure that we maintain our strong financial position.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I wish to move that council adopt the long-term financial plan.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Not much to add to what Mr Mason has said there. It really allows us to project out those next 10 years, which is really important from a, you know, being able to understand what our position is currently and what it's going to look like in 10 years. We are going to need to increase our sources of income or look at reducing costs. It's going to be not an easy transition as we move forward through this next little bit with you know, ever increasing costs and rate capping and yeah, lots of work to be done. But at least we're aware, and I think that's you know, that's the main part of what we need with these sort of strategic documents.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think everything's been touched on. There's no doubt we do need to have a 10-year financial plan. It does, you know, it does tie into our community vision and a council plan. So it is very important for this plan for us to remain sustainable going forward. You know, council is not immune from the financial pressures that our community faces. We also have increased costs with infrastructure renewal, energy costs, and, you know, the cost shifting by the government, you know, that's placing a lot more pressure on local council. You know, we will need to look for efficiencies all the time going forward, and we will need to review how we deliver the services that the community expects. And those reviews obviously will have to be taken right across the whole organisation. I'm happy to support the motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
And it does look like it'll be challenging moving forward, especially you know, with the focus on asset renewal and how we bridge that asset renewal gap. That's outlined very clearly in the long-term financial plan. And the future of sustainability will rely on keen advocacy, efficiencies across the organisation, but we need to make sure that we are continuing to deliver those services that we need across the Warrnambool municipality. No further speakers. We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 7.3, Warrnambool 2040, Mr Mason.
The Warrnambool 2040 plan is a vision for the Warrnambool community. As required by the Local Government Act, this plan has been reviewed and consultation with the community has occurred. I think that the plan sets an important vision, but it is important to note that it's a vision not for council, it's a vision for how we work with the council. As such, some of the items and objectives are not ours to deliver, but it is important that they are still captured. So it is recommended that council adopt the reviewed plan.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott?
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll just move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Arnott?
Yes, the W2040 plan, it's a long-term plan, and it really wasn't anticipated that there'd be significant changes made. There's been some refinement within the short-term initiatives that have been completed, and they're no longer featured in the plan. A gender impact assessment revealed that the issue of gender was only addressed briefly, and a proposed change was to make gender equality a clear and enduring outcome of the welcoming and inclusive city. We've got many ambitious goals that are identified in the plan, and they remain largely achievable. And one of the goals which I'd really like to see come to fruition is a drug and rehabilitation centre. That goal was for it to be operational by 2026, but obviously we're not going to meet that. And unfortunately, that goal has not been supported by the government. Congratulations to our Mayor, to writing to more than 40 organisations, as well as relevant groups. Some of those groups did not exist or were not active at the time of the W2040 plan was developed. So congratulations, Mayor, big job. So I'm happy to support the motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Ziegler?
Yes, Mayor, I endorse the words of my fellow councillor there, but it's enough to say that our 2040 plan was a visionary concept. We've been constrained to tweak it from time to time in the light of a very tight-pocketed state government. So our funding often makes us have to go different ways in order to achieve the various goals and ambitions in the 2040 plan, and that'll continue. The pandemic put a hole in a lot of our plans as well, but it's basically tracking along fairly as it was envisioned in the first place. So I'm quite comfortable to support that.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add too, the community vision is so important for guiding the direction of council, and the original Warrnambool 2040 was a huge piece of work, and you know, we've seen, especially being post-COVID, the delivery of the library and the read, the refresh vision really shows a similar direction, and especially as Councillor Arnott pointed out, that gender equity across the city really being a key point that's been put into there. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, thank you, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.4, which is the Active Warrnambool Strategy, 2025 to 2035. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The draft Active Warrnambool Strategy provides direction on the future of recreation in our city, and we all know that sport and recreation is a really big part of Warrnambool and what makes it a great place to live. Consultation on the draft strategy has already occurred with 50-odd clubs and groups being consulted with. The recommendation before you tonight is that the draft strategy be put out for public consultation prior to it being coming back to council for consideration.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'll move that the council approves the release of the draft Active Warrnambool Strategy for public comment through Council's Your Say from the 7th of October to the 28th of October 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, as with all of these things we put out for public comment, they're only effective if the public do comment. I'm a little disappointed that it's only going into the Your Say website section, so that only people that have access to internet can actually have a say. But hopefully it'll go through standard print media as well, so the other 30% of the population get a chance to make comment. It's desperately important that people do make comments so that council can organise and draft the pathway to an active warrantable strategy.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Warrnambool, as we know, it is a sporting city, and we've only got to look at some of the elite athletes that have come from within the municipality to know how strong sporting is to the city. It provides a physical release, but also a mental release, which is really important these days. So this piece of work on the active strategy, it's great because it identifies where our key assets are for our sporting facilities, and it also really highlights the increase in female participation, with netball being the number one, and increasing in female soccer players, and just the realisation that we have to cater more for our female athletes around the town. So I think it's a great piece of work, and look forward to coming back.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add too, as Councillor Edis said, sport's so important across our city for social connection, the physical wellbeing, and it's positive to see so much was actually delivered in the last strategy. And there has been consultation done already, and this is, make sure we've got our focus areas right, and we are focusing on gender equity. Brierley, Aquazone, the stadium are really key major projects, with the other grounds and facilities in line for upgrades as well. So it's really going to be important to have your say about the future investment in all those facilities. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything to close?
I would like to, Mayor, yes. Just I'd like to remind people that this active warrantable strategy is for sport and leisure. It doesn't just involve sport. It could be any of the other avocational activities that people undertake. So it mustn't just be regarded as pointed at sport for those who don't indulge in sport.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.5, the Warrnambool Art Gallery Strategic Plan 2025-2029. Mr Mason.
Thank you. The Warrnambool Art Gallery is important to our regional city. It celebrates the arts and contributes to the city's livability and, importantly, also economic activity. The strategic plan will provide direction to the gallery over the next 4 years. The strategy's been through a rigorous consultation process, and it's recommended that council adopt the strategy tonight.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that that council adopt the Warrnambool Art Gallery Strategic Plan.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. So the art gallery is owned by Warrnambool City Council, and we have one of the 5th oldest public collecting institutions in Australia. It does represent a significant cultural and artistic asset. The collection has more than 3,500 objects, and the Warrnambool Art Gallery is aligned with the Warrnambool City Council Plan, our creative industry strategy for the Southwest Victoria, Experience Victoria 2033, the Warrnambool Economic Development Strategy, the Warrnambool Events Strategy, and Warrnambool Destination Action Plan. The art gallery is there to help foster local creative pathways, and identified existing arts business in Warrnambool and Port Fairy, which champion the work of local practitioners like the F Project, Warrnambool Artists Society and the Glyph Gallery. Sorry, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied. This strategic plan will provide guidance to the gallery director and curatorial team over the next 4 years. It will guide practice, programming and engagement with the local community and visitors to the city. Supporting the arts and creatives in our community is essential because they bring culture and new perspectives to everyday life. By supporting local creatives, we help sustain the creative economy, nurture talent, and ensure that art continues to enrich and connect us all. So I'm happy to support the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Arnott. That was an exceptional summary, including stealing a couple of the points that I was going to talk about. That's fine.
Sorry about that.
I just really want to call out the fostering of the local creative pathways. I think that's a really key inclusion in this strategic plan. That's really personally what I'm looking for from the gallery. So I think that's really good. Councillor Arnott put it perfectly in terms of how we're setting ourselves up. So yeah, happy to endorse this one.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, apart from the pathways, cultural pathways, and the artistic participation of our community, what we need to remember about this art gallery strategy is that the art gallery isn't just about art and creativity. It's about a cultural repository. It actually helps to save the important cultural aspects of our community and historical repository. So it's as well about diversity and inclusion, First Nations participation and repository of First Nations cultural treasures. It's about education, it's about economics, and this strategy is designed to foster all of that. So we're not just talking about the creative arts, we're talking about a huge background of cultural wealth.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'd like to add too that it is such an important driver for Warrnambool, and as Councillor Ziegler said, and the cultural enrichment of our city. And as both Councillor Arnott and Councillor Ziegler said, it's an important collection of over 3,500 items that show our artists and our history. It's also been amazing with Aaron as the gallery director, the amazing visitation that we saw with Lisa Gorman and Merca Mora and the Claw Money exhibitions as well, first ticketed exhibitions in over a decade at the Art Gallery, and the launch of the regional next month, which I look forward to seeing what the WAG continues to come out with as we continue to move forward. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
Not at this stage, Mayor, thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.6, the Healthy Warrnambool Plan 2025-2029. Mr Mason.
Thank you. The Healthy Warrnambool Plan is required by the Local Government Act. The plan provides direction to improve health and wellbeing outcomes for people in the city, with many of the actions being undertaken by other organisations. The plan has been through a consultation process and it's recommended that Council adopt the plan.
Thank you, Mr Mason. With any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that Council adopts the Healthy Warrnambool Plan 2025-2029.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. So the Warrnambool Healthy Plan was developed in consultation with key health agencies, health promotion organisations and the community. A review of the public health data and engagement with the community has identified some statistics that I find a little alarming. We are an ageing population here in Warrnambool. We smoke more than the Victorian average. Our pokies gaming machine expenditure has hit $66,372 per day. which equates to about $24.2 million a year. I find that statistic very alarming. Our alcohol-related hospital admissions is above state average. We have 641.2 admissions compared to the state average of 393.5. And we have more incidences of family violence than the state average. So to me, I find those particular statistics quite alarming. We somehow need to be able to do better to help those incidences decrease in our community. Having a healthy Warrnambool plan is important because it helps create a vibrant, inclusive and resilient community where everyone can thrive. The plan focuses on improving physical and mental well-being, promoting active lifestyles and supporting social connection. By prioritising health and well-being across all areas of life, we can ensure a stronger, happier and more sustainable future for our residents. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Very well put by Councillor Arnott there. Yeah, I'd just like to add that the introduction of the priority pillars really defines the plan. It really sort of gives a dot point to really sort of drill down more into each one of those pillars to really get to the submissions, which there were 17 from 21 organisations, which was one of our better received community responses. So I think it's a great document. It just shows that it's with only 3% of people eating the required amount of fruit and veg in Warrnambool. It just shows how easy it is to now. The world's turned into a way where it's easier and cheaper to eat badly than it is to eat good. So it is something that we need to work on to try and turn that around. So I think it's a great document, and yeah, we look forward to seeing where it goes with it.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. There's just one part that I want to touch on. Thank you to Councillor Arnott and Councillor Edis, especially Councillor Arnott, because you're on fire tonight. That was absolutely spectacular. Family violence, those numbers are horrific. The vast majority of perpetrators in family violence are male. So there is a certain section of the population that needs to take a really good look at themselves. It's unacceptable that in 2025 we are dealing with family violence instances of this level. There's a lot of education, there's a lot of change in the way that communities are expected to behave. I certainly hope that we can start to make a real difference to this. If this continues to trend up, we've got some serious problems. So we, men, need to take a really good hard look at ourselves and make sure that this is not something that is brought into the home. It's not something that is imprinted on future generations.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I think that this plan it's just one of the tools that we've got to have. The underlying reasons and causes for all our health problems, and we have several. I mean, we're one of the highest incidences of cardiac disease and diabetes. We've got our smoking rates are far too high. The underlying reasons for all these are beyond the control of council, but council's got to have a plan that actually becomes another tool in improving the life of our community, improving the health of our community. It won't on its own help. It's a huge social movement that is the only thing that's going to work, but we've got to be a part of that, and that's why I'll support this.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add a big thank you for the feedback that has been worked into the strategy. It's been really great to see the way that's actually shaped what we're doing, and it's important, council, as everyone's outlined here tonight, partners with organisations to deliver better health outcomes for everyone across our city in all of the different areas. As a regional city, we have our challenges, and it's great to hear from everyone tonight on some of the challenges that really stuck out to them that have been identified in this strategy. And this strategy will really help guide the work that we do in improving those health outcomes across Warrnambool, and not just Warrnambool, also the southwest. Because we want to be a happy and healthy southwest Victoria. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, thank you, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.7, which is the Road Management Plan 2025. Mr Mason.
Thank you. Council is legally required to have a road management plan that sets the standards for management of local roads. I think it's really important in this context that this plan relates to local roads and not the state government managed arterial road network where we get a lot of our complaints directed to, and it's a constant source of frustration, but it's not something that we can actually fix. But it is important that we are making sure that we're managing our roads well, and this plan puts us in a good position to do that. So a recommendation that you adopt the plan.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I wish to move the officer's recommendation as noted.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. As put by Mr Mason, the vast majority of the issues with roads are not ours. So it's, that needs to be really clearly covered. What this document does is really sets the expectations really transparently around what's council responsibility, what isn't, and what timeframes we're working towards. So I think from a outsider's perspective, that's exactly what you want. The road hierarchy is covered, the pathway hierarchy. So I think it's comprehensive. It puts us in a good position to manage what's effectively our assets.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. As both Mr Mason and Councillor Walsh have said, the condition of our roads are generally good, with 88% to be considered in good condition. So obviously the main arterials being Raglan Parade, Cameron Road and Mortlake Road aren't council responsibility, and they tend to be the source of majority of complaints. It's also good that while this is focused on roads, it also impacts footpath inspections and footpath crossovers as well, because we encourage a lot of people to be out walking, so we want to make sure our footpaths are in good condition with no trip hazards. So a really good comprehensive document.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Again, I'll repeat the points made by Councillor Walsh and Councillor Edis about the arterial roads. The arterial roads are the ones that most Warrnambool people use on a daily basis. Raglan Parade is everybody's thoroughfare. Caramit Road and Hopkins Highway are everybody's thoroughfares, and it's those roads about which we receive most of the complaints, and we can't do much about them because we don't get enough money or the responsibility from the state government to do the repairs for those things. So where council responsibility, roads are taken into account, we do fairly well.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add to that last point, and Councillor Edis and Councillor Ziegler have made it really clear. Remembering that our roads are the local roads, and Mr Mason did as well, but remember the highway, Mortlake Road, Caramit Road, the roads that we get the most complaints about are state-managed roads. We are advocating to the state, but it is their responsibility to repair and fund those roads, because we want to see them safe for everyone across southwest Victoria. Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.8, the Building Asset Management Plan and Bridges Asset Management Plan. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This might be considered somewhat boring, but this is actually really important. We need to know the condition of our current, we've got 340 buildings and 57 bridges and major culverts. Important that we understand what their condition is and that we have plans for how we are going to manage these assets that are vital to the community going forward. So the recommendation is that you adopt both the building asset management plan and the bridge asset management plan.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor. I'll move that Council number 1 adopts the Building Asset Management Plan and number 2 adopts the Bridges Asset Management Plan.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler.
No, Mayor, I think it's fairly self-explanatory. As our CEO has said, this is something we've got to have. We've got an awful lot of buildings that the council's got to look after and be responsible for, and bridges as well. So it just makes sense that we have a sound management plan that's been promulgated by our very capable staff.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one or two things to add. It's really transparent in the condition of the asset, so I think that's really, really important. What it also shows is asset renewal is going to become an issue, in particular when you're looking at the buildings. It's nice to have that front and centre when we're reviewing and passing these documents, so everybody's clear on where we're going, and as that asset renewal gap grows, it makes it more difficult for us to succeed.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Yes, look, I'll just add there that both the asset management plans were actually out of date and the service metrics have changed. So implementing these plans will require ongoing data collection and condition assessments, and they probably will indicate a projected underfunding of renewal assets, as Councillor Walsh has said. Obviously, this renewal gap's going to need to be managed so we can maintain our current services. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add, Councillor Arnott and Councillor Walsh are 100% right. It's a balancing act, being cost-effective and keeping up with the renewal of our assets. Bridges and buildings with roads are some of the biggest asset classes for council to manage. And this strategy shows how it's very transparent. How the strategy will continue to shows how council will continue to manage these assets across the municipality, and how these assets are managed in the future is also going to be key in how we bridge the asset renewal gap as well. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything to close?
Thank you, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.9, the Asset Plan 2025-2035. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The asset plan is yet another plan that we are legally required to adopt under the Local Government Act. This plan provides, similar to the last item, direction on the management of council's large number of assets over the next 10 years. I think a key recommendation coming out of this, or key element coming out of this, is the importance of maintaining what we've got before we build new. That's another way of saying the importance of asset renewal, and it's recommended that the council adopt this plan.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Have any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council adopt the asset plan 2025 to 2035.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Councillor Edis.
Thank you. Very, very similar to the building and bridge asset plan, but in a broader scope where it includes roads, pathways, open spaces, particularly Lake Batobe and those type areas, the airport, and artworks as well, which we sort of probably don't think of because they're not where we see all the time. So where particularly a lot of the open spaces are down in corrosive environments down by the edge of the ocean, where they do deteriorate at a faster rate than what they would further away from the beach. So again, just important that we're aware of it. We repair, renew where we can, and maintain from there.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. Our community certainly have high expectations on how we maintain our assets. So this plan is going to provide the reality of available funding to deliver outcomes with the community. Cost escalations, access to materials, maintaining, renewing, upgrading and delivering new assets has become very challenging. So I hope this plan will help the community understand the vast amount of assets that council actually is required to maintain. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add that the asset plan is showing over the next decade that our assets will continue to grow and be upgraded and be decommissioned, and that's going to be a key part of bridging the asset renewal gap. Over the next decade, there's expected to be some expansion and rationalisation of assets across council as budgets are considered. This will help also in guide investment across council's asset base. It's great to see the direct consultation and feedback actually going into this plan as well. Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.10, the East Local Area Traffic Management Plan, the LATM. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. It's the LATM has examined traffic safety and identified improvements for traffic management and safety in the East Warrnambool area. This area is obviously experiencing additional traffic from growth areas. A pleasing 85 submissions were received to the plan. I think it's really important to recognise that this plan is a tool for then going on and seeking further state and federal government funding, particularly state government funding. Much of this plan will not be achieved unless we can secure that state government funding. And so a recommendation for the council, adopt the plan.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover?
I've got questions.
Oh, sorry, go Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. A couple of questions. First up, just for the purpose of clarification, will the Hopkins, with this plan, will the Hopkins Road be divided into 2 hourly parking, or is it all-day parking? What's
Mr Mason.
Councillor Ziegler, I might call on my director, David Lee, to answer that question.
Through you, Mr Mayor, the detail around any changes that might occur around parking will be worked out on a case-by-case basis, so there's greater detail that needs to go into all the designs. There will be intersection treatment, minor parking alterations, and all those sorts of things will be
so that?
changed accordingly.
So what was intimated at some point was that some areas of Hopkins Road were all going to be 2-hour parks. That's not necessarily the case?
But, yeah, as I say, there's a lot more work that needs to go into it. There'd be observations of the parking patterns and the habits of the people, and we need to be mindful of people parking in front of someone's residence all day where they can't get access to their own property and those sorts of things, so that all those things need to be weighed up.
Thank you. Now, the second part is again for clarification. It's a question. I'm aware that some of the intersections which are choke points, being Nicholson Street, Flaxman Street, Bostock Street intersection and the Cemetery, Hopkins Road intersection, are serious choke points, and it's been suggested that there may be 2 treatments, either roundabouts or traffic lights. We're not tied into one or the other at this point with this plan, are we?
Yeah, that's correct. My understanding, and David might want to jump in as well, but Mr Lee might want to jump in further, but my understanding is the plan has been drafted in such a way that we keep open the option for either traffic lights or roundabouts at those key intersections, and then that would be resolved once you have do a more detailed work around what's the best solution or option, looking at traffic counts and in fact what funding is available.
And thirdly, again for purposes of clarification, the question I'd ask is that are we set on closing the Bostock Street Bridge to vehicular traffic and allowing it just for pedestrians and bikes and so forth? Or is that another one of the ones that is up for discussion?
might-
Mr. Mayor, the Bostock Street Bridge isn't an asset that we own. It's not council's asset as such. I believe it's a big track-owned asset, so there'd be a whole process to go through to close that for vehicle traffic anyway. And it's all predicated on the idea that the Deacon Link exercise continues to gain a bit of momentum and the project comes to fruition. That might be a number of years down the track. So there's a whole series of different dominoes that need to fall before any decision's made about the Bostock Street Bridge, but it is something that would need to go through a considerable process of negotiation with users and look at the impacts, the flow-on impacts to other traffic in the area if that bridge was closed. So, yeah, nothing's too straightforward. They're suggestions, they're not recommendations.
So that aspect is a suggestion rather than a recommendation.
They're all pretty much ideas and opportunities to be investigated as potential improvements to traffic flow, pedestrian safety and cycling safety.
And I would assume that most of that will go to public consultation as well.
So it's something like that, certainly. Yeah.
Any other questions, Councillor Ziegler?
Finished questions.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott?
I'll move that council adopts the East Warrnambool Local Area Traffic Management Plan.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott?
Thank you, Mayor. So this local area traffic management plan will address challenges for people who work, live and go to school in that area. And but first of all, I'd like to thank the people who took the time to contribute their feedback. 85 submissions is just wonderful, so that means the community was well engaged. There's been no doubt there's been significant growth and development in areas, particularly along Hopkins Point Road and around Lindock, and consequently there has been an increase in traffic management. The Safe Systems principle was used across the precinct, and that provides recommendations for intersection upgrades, wombat installations, parking upgrades, refuge installations, improved cycling infrastructure and speed reductions. As our Director, Mr Lee, has said, for a lot of these plans to come to fruition, we're going to be reliant upon funding, and we will need external funding to deliver the plan. As funding does become available, more detailed work will be carried out. So I'm happy to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Walsh?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just picking up off the back of Councillor Arnott's about the 85 responses. Again, can't shout out enough how fantastic that is. But also, those 85 responses have resulted in changes to the local area traffic management plan as well. So just tying those two pieces together, community feedback and input is super important. I thank Councillor Ziegler for just those couple of clarifying questions, because I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this area. There's fors and against for some of the treatments. I think we need to really make sure we're prioritising vulnerable users, in particular around the East Warrnambool Primary School. Those intersections and crossings around there are absolutely diabolical. I shudder every time I drive past there. I'm really excited for this plan to hopefully be endorsed this evening, because it gives us a really good ledge at which we can throw ourselves off and throw these proposals together and start to attract some funding and get some real improvements for traffic and people movements in and around that whole area, which is growing at an exceptional rate with lots of people moving around. So I'm really excited to pass this one through.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler?
Yes, Mayor. Having been born and bred in that particular neck of the woods, I recognise the problems that have always existed at Flaxman Street, Nicholson Street intersection. I know it to be a diabolical intersection. I've had personal experience of at least 3 pedestrian accidents of very tragic results. That's a huge choke point. It's getting worse simply because of the influx of traffic from the east up the Hopkins Point Road, the cemetery intersection and the intersection with Simpson Street, and the highway and Verdon Street are all serious choke points. We desperately need a cogent plan. This management plan has all the elements of doing the right thing for East Warrnambool. Again, it was heartening for me, as it was for my colleagues here, to see so many responses from people that had their input into it. If I'm going to be speaking personally, I think traffic lights are the only responsible results, but all of this hinges on whether we can get some funding, particularly for the various signal spots, those 3 main intersections, the Deakin Link, the Bostock Street Bridge. It all hinges on whether in fact we're going to get enough money to do it from the government.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just to reiterate what our fellow councillors have said, I think the next 12 months of advocacy is going to be extremely important. This needs to be one of our top priorities to achieve this, and with the state election coming up, that's our best opportunity to source the funding, because this isn't the worst of it. There's still development happening out on Hopkins Point Road, a lot of blocks that don't have houses on them yet, so there will be more people moving into that area, which makes this extremely critical that we get this over the line.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor Blaine. I concur with all the other fellow councillors in these statements. It was very pleasing to see the community feedback, and that council has made some changes in regards to the amount of crossings and the potential of looking at lights or roundabouts for those areas. I'd like to thank the questions from Councillor Ziegler, just on the clarity and the responses from the CEO and the directors on that. I think that just highlights that it's going to be done right when it gets reviewed, and the community can feel confident that there'll be good outcomes. So I'd just like to thank that. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. And the feedback really did help shape this strategy. And that's why it's so important that if you do give feedback, it has been taken into account and has made changes. It's really great to see. On the whole, personally, I think that this LATAM addresses the safety and drivability across the eastern precinct of the city. And delivery of the local area traffic management plan will be a longer term project, and we will need to be working hard for state and federal government investment. And we've already seen that with these strategies, we can deliver. If you look at the Botanic local area traffic management plan, that's well underway, and projects there are happening, as we speak. Like, we've been redoing the roads, we've seen crossings going in out the front of St Joseph's. These really help guide and really do attract federal and state investment. And as Councillor Walsh and others have pointed out, there's been so much growth out the eastern side of the city with the new estates, the growing businesses. Getting the plan done now, the works can be guided and prioritised as we continue to see that growth in East Warrnambool. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, I think everything's been covered, Mayor. Thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 7.11, which is the Leases and Licensing Policy 2025. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a new policy that seeks to provide guidance and, importantly, consistency for the leasing and licensing of council-owned properties. Because it is a new policy, we're keen to do some consultation on this one. It's recommended that council release the policy for community consultation before it comes back to a future council meeting.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Do we have any questions? We have a mover, Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the recommendation that council releases the attached leases and licences policy 2025 for community consultation for a period of 4 weeks beginning 7th October 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's probably a long overdue policy. This affects a lot of organisations that do lease properties, have leases and licences within council, and a lot of these have been done on handshake agreements in the past with no real strategic framework to provide the clarity. So that's basically what this aims to do, is to be transparent and have clarity for council and for the stakeholder. It is good to see that consideration has been given for people that use, organisations that use the premises for commercial as opposed to large not-for-profits and small not-for-profits. So there's been consideration given to each individual organisation on how they operate. And I think the other important thing is that it has a maintenance responsibilities clarification in there too. So at the end of the day, the purpose of this policy is to just provide clarification, transparency, so that everyone knows where they stand.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Edis. That was a great summary. I call on anyone who is a leasee or a licensee with the council to review this policy. There will be some impacts to some areas, but as Councillor Edis stated, it's really transparent, gets rid of those, eventually maybe some of those handshake agreements, and starts to put in place a real consistent approach so that everyone is on an equal footing, and we're really consistent in the way that we apply these things. So please, for the 4 weeks beginning 7 October, get in there and review. And again, as we've just seen with the last item, feedback is well and truly wanted and needed, and will help influence what the end policy document covers.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add that I think the real aim for this policy, and this is why it's gone out for consultation, is its equity across all council facilities with charges, and also the other real end game with this is trying to increase utilisation of council assets. Council wants to see more utilisation with a fair payment schedule, as both Councillor Walsh and Councillor Edis have said, so that everyone understands where they're at across the municipality. So it is really important to have your say over the next 4 weeks to make sure this policy does strike the right balance across, equity of access, fees, across all council assets. Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.12, the Policy Neutral Planning Scheme Amendment, C216.
Thanks, Mayor. This planning scheme amendment seeks to update and modernise the Warrnambool planning scheme in a policy neutral way. That just means that we're trying not to change the broad direction, but trying to improve the look and feel of the content. That's my in summary. It's recommended the council adopt the planning scheme amendment and seek approval from the planning minister.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to move the recommendation as noted.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott, Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr Mason, for that eloquent summary of what this one is, because I think any time that you can make these complex pieces of information easier to digest, or more readable, or more accurate and current, that's a win. Given this is this Act is from 1987, so I can only begin to imagine some of the difficulties in deciphering some of those complex matters. So I'm happy to pass this one.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Well, the way I describe this one is just a housekeeping term, a housekeeping policy here, so happy to support, thank you.
Any other council wish to speak? My two little lines were, improving the language and usability of the planning scheme is key to this amendment. This isn't a change to any real policy, just clarifying the working and usability of the scheme.
Well
Very
done.
good.
Yeah.
Should have maybe passed that one on to Mr Mason. That was a very nice, nice summary there,
That was a
Mayor.
good summary.
With no further, oh, sorry, Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further, thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.13, the Audit and Risk Committee Annual Assessment. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a housekeeping item, really, in that the Audit and Risk Committee annual assessment is a statutory requirement under the Act. It's recommended that Council receive a copy of the assessment.
Thank you, Mr Mason. With any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I wish to move the recommendation as noted.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Walsh.
Nothing to add on that one, Mr Mayor.
Again, Mr Mayor, this is a housekeeping effort, so I'm happy to let it go through.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I would like to add that I do think, because Councillor Walsh and I are on the Audit and Risk, that Audit and Risk is running well, and a big thank you to Kevin, Richard and Wilson, our independent members, for the insight they bring to all the meetings and the feedback they've provided here as well. Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further, thank you, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.14, the Child Safety Statement of Commitment. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. Child safety is a really important issue for all organisations, and especially for Warrnambool City Council, given that we operate a number of early learning, early years services. The Statement of Commitment affirms that Council's position on child safety, and I am strongly recommending that Council adopt this statement. It really just puts a flag in the ground around what we stand for.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, this one's a no-brainer. I'll move that the council adopts the Statement of Commitment to Child Safety.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Councillor Ziegler.
Again, as I said, it's a no-brainer. We have to commit, and we have to commit happily and with all our resources towards child safety. It's no question.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. We currently do not have an endorsed commitment to child safety, so by adopting this statement, it will set out the foundation of Council's child safety framework. A statement endorsing a commitment to child safety is important because it clearly demonstrates an organisation's dedication to protecting children and young people from harm. It sets the standard for a culture of safety, respect and accountability, ensuring that everyone understands their role in creating a creating a secure and supportive environment. And such a statement also builds trust within the community by showing that child safety is not only a legal responsibility, but a core value that guides all actions and decisions. I'm very passionate about this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to add one extra piece onto that. Obviously, day to day, there are roles in the council that have direct contact with children, early years education, the immunisation, the library. So this goes to take that further to those roles that don't always have that contact, where, you know, we don't have that structure in place that's part of the day-to-day role. So I think this is really clear and a really good commitment that everyone within the Warrnambool City Council is responsible for child safety.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add, child safety is so important for all of our children, all of our young people, and as Councillor Walsh has said, It isn't just in those services like daycare, it is across everything that we do. And not only as councillors, but as the organisation under the CEO and all staff, children need to be protected, they need to feel safe, and they need to be safe while they're doing anything that's involved with Warrnambool City Council. And as a council, we are committed to child safety, and we want to make sure that that is front of mind with all of our staff, with all of the staff. As a council, this reinforces that child safety will be front of mind across every level of the organisation, and it'll ensure that as a council, you know, we are looking after all of the young people in the organisation or that are involved with council. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything to close?
Just to sum up, that this particular motion is not only a legal and a cultural responsibility, it's a moral and ethical one.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.15, the proposed sale of council-owned properties at 34 to 38 Koroit Street. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. Council owns 3 residential properties in Koroit Street that have previously been flood prone. Following flood mitigation works, it's recommended that the properties be sold, noting that the flood mitigation works have significantly reduced the risk of flooding but not eliminated it. Given this, it's recommended that council go through a community consultation process prior to commencing an EOI process for the sale of the three properties.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Yes, I would like to move the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Arnott.
Well, I'm sure that some people here in the room would understand I've been banging on about this for about, I'd say 3 years, would it be? Maybe more. These properties have been really underutilised over the time that I've been in council. Yes, they've had flood damage and repairs. They're currently vacant or only used for short-term occupancy for council staff. I feel it would be a great outcome for these properties to be sold, that we don't then have to worry about renewal works with them. It'll be a reduction in the asset renewal gap, and we could also use whatever funds we get from them, be put to better use. It certainly would be a capital injection for council, so I'm more than happy to accept the motion. Thank you. Support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I completely agree with the comments of Councillor Arnott there. We've talked earlier in the agenda about the long-term financial plan and where council needs to make efficiencies, and this is the first step in the right direction. That if we have underutilised properties that are an asset that can be of value, but then also diminish ongoing maintenance as well, it's only common sense and good financial management that we do look down this path. It is important to note that, yes, they are flood-prone, but council's been very, very transparent in letting potential buyers know what that's like. And whether it's sold individually 3 houses or they're demolished as a development, it's going to provide more housing to the community and greater asset strengths within within Warrnambool, which can only be a good thing.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'm sort of caught in a bit of an ethical dilemma here from the point of view that while council divests itself of these properties and will certainly raise a bit of money, whoever purchases them is going to be at risk because of the floods. So I would just urge them to do their due diligence.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I do think that the proposed sale and going out for consultation, that is a part of the legislative requirements around disposing of assets, and hopefully with this sale we can free up some capital for some of the future aspirations that we do have for our city. We keep talking about funding. This is a possibility. As Mr Mason's spoken about as well, works have been done in relation to the drainage, and any future developments on there would have to be, would have to fall into what the current zonings are around there to make sure that they are safe and habitable for anyone to be in there. And I do think, as Councillor Reid has pointed out, it is an important part of the asset rationalisation that we, should be looking at as we continue to move forward. I know you can only sell assets once, but, if we're underutilising them and we haven't got a future strategic purpose, this is a really good example of how we can do that. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
Look, the only thing I'll add on there is, if anyone has anything to say or wishes to comment, get on board and give us some feedback. Yeah. Thank you.
And that's very well, if the feedback, the feedback's there to come back, and if it comes back different to what we're proposing, that's why we're consulting.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.16, the South West Victoria Alliance Memorandum of Understanding. Mr Mason.
Mayor, another fairly sort of housekeeping item. The South West Alliance represents the 5 councils in South West Victoria. The attached MOU seeks to continue the good work of the Alliance, which I think has been a really effective vehicle for advocacy, but also maintaining and building relationships across the 5 councils. And so a recommendation is before you that you endorse the MOU.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the recommendation that the Warrnambool City Council endorses a memorandum of understanding with the South West Vic Alliance effective from the 24th of October 25 to the 23rd of October 2028.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. To me, this was a pretty obvious decision to make. We are stronger as a united group of 5 councils than we are 5 individual councils when we come to advocating for our area. Not much more to add, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it's working well. I think it's a good what's the word? It's a good decision to pursue, continue with this.
Thanh you, Councillor Edis. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to add. Thank you, Councillor Edis. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Strength in numbers.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wishes to speak? Councillor Arnott.
Look, this MOU, it really does work in favour for the region, and when we have partnerships, it does make us, it does give us stronger representation to Parliament. So I think these relationships, partnerships for the region are really important. So happy for it to continue.
Any other councillor wish to speak? And I do agree. I think the South West Vic Alliance, it's critical to deliver big outcomes for the region. The Alliance is the peak advocacy body for South West Victoria. And with some of the changes that are in the new MOU, it's important that Warrnambool has a seat at the table and we are delivering for the region. And the Alliance is, working, because I'm the member at the moment, I'm actually the chair. The Alliance actually working to ensure that we have the road network infrastructure funds and the support for the Southwest that, we wouldn't be able to have the inroads unless we were standing united. And it's great to continue to work with our surrounding councils, Corangamite, Moyne, Glenelg, Southern Grampians, and Deakin University and Wannon Water as well. And the other thing the MOU will actually open up is the possibility to have other partners on the board as well. Councillor Edis, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.17, the Advisory Committee reports. Mr Mason.
Just minutes of the Planning Advisory Committee there for you to receive.
Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Benta.
Yep.
Are you moving, Councillor Benta?
Yes, sorry, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the minutes be adopted.
Do we have a seconder?
Recommendation, sorry.
Councillor Walsh. Councillor Benta.
Yeah, just like to thank the new current members. There's 12 members in all, and the meeting's gone really well so far. So the Planning Advisory Committee, I think, is going to be a good addition to council over the next 12 months. Yeah, it'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything?
Nothing to add, thank you, Mayor.
Any other councillor wish to speak? And I agree with I do agree with Councillor Benter that it's great to see so many members starting the group and discussing so many planning projects and really driving the agenda on what the group's working towards. Councillor Benter, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 7.18, the cycling reference group minutes. Mr Mason?
Again, the minutes of that reference group are attached to be received.
Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh?
Thanks, Mayor. I move that the record of the cycling reference group meeting held on 3 September 2025 be received.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler? Councillor Walsh?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a shout out to the members of the cycling reference group. Thanks for continuing to turn up. We've had obviously the East Warrnambool Latham come up this evening. Lots of input from the members of the reference group around that. And also, as many people would have seen, the pump track down at the old, where the old YMCA was. It's about to kick off, or has kicked off, so super exciting. Again, another baby out of the cycling reference group. Many a conversation around that. So appreciate people putting the time in to attend these reference groups. They do add value. Again, like all our community consultation, we want people to talk to us. That's it. I ran out.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to add anything?
No, I just endorse the comments of my colleague.
Any other councillor wish to speak? All right, and you don't wish to close?
Nothing more, Mayor, thank you.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.20, the Mayoral and Chief Executive Office Council Activities Summary. Oh, sorry, thank you, Mr Mason. 7.19, the informal meeting of council reports. The reports are there. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Ziegler. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Does anyone wish to speak? We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.20, the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report. It's there before you. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Edis. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Does anyone wish to speak? We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 8, notices of motion. Mr Mason.
No notices of motion.
Item 9, general business. Did anyone have any general business they wanted to raise this evening? No. Item 10, urgent business. No, no items of urgent business, Mr Mason?
No, none.
We'll now move on to item 11, the close of the meeting. Thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you next month.